Hello and welcome to Wow Embossing channel. My name is Aditi and I am back with mixed media inspiration for y'all. Firstly, wishing you all a very happy new year, and I hope that this new year brings in a lot of love, laughter, peace and abundance as well as crafty time in your life. With that being said, today I am going to share how I decorate this notebook cover using my Wow embossing powders. Now, I use notebooks to keep a track of my projects, my ideas, and things like that. And I am starting afresh, and I have this notebook with kraft paper as its cover. And I like to have the covers decorated. So I thought, why not show you how I do this on a craft sheet of paper. So I am going to be working with Alex Syberia Designs products today. So I have the Tulips Treasure stamp set here. And for my first step, what I want to do is just build a little background here with white embossing powder. So I'm using the classic Wow Opaque Bright White, and I'm using regular because I want nice bold lines. And before even beginning, I will definitely prep my page with some powder just so my embossing powder is not running in the places that I don't want it to. And I have picked out the larger stamp cluster here, placed it on my acrylic block, and I'm using this merely for background building. So bringing out my Wow embossing pad now. So it's nothing fancy, just stamping with embossing ink and then heat setting that with opaque bright white embossing powder. And now I'll repeat the same process to just further build the background with that same stamp, adding a little detail here at the top as well. And just with that, you can see how pretty it already looks. It adds so much more interest to my cover and makes me happy. So I quite like that. Now, on white cardstock, what I have here is the other single flower cluster. I've stamped that with black ink and then embossed that with clear gloss embossing powder just to get a nice crisp outline. And I am now going to color this separately and then die cut that to add that as my focal for this cover. I am going to bring out the layered stencils for this. So there are 3 layers and I am going to pick out some colors and be back. For the first layer, the base layer, I am going to be using some ink colors. So I have Sunkissed for the flower, and for the leaves, I am going to be using Very Cool for the first layer and Easy Breezy for the second layer. These are alt new inks, and I will be using embossing powders for the other layers. Today I am playing with the Delicate Blooms Wow Embossing Trio, a collab with Alex Syberia Designs. So these are the 3 colors in this. That's Tranquil Azure, Sunlit Gleam, and Rose Water. And I want to use these for my detail layers. So first I am just going to begin adding the base color through the first stencil. And with just those ink layers down in place, I am now going to quickly dry this panel and then be back for embossing the detail layers. I did go ahead and use the three layers just for the stem and the leaves, but I will be going back in with the detail layer with embossing powder once more. But I just like the idea of having that color down there in place with all the shading and then just slight details with the embossing powder for the leaves and the stem alone. Now for the flowers, I am going to use the second stencil and use Sunlit Gleam embossing powder. So I will apply embossing ink through the second detailed stencil here so that I can emboss it with that yellow. So that's a look at that second layer with the embossing powder. And now for the third layer, I will bring in rose water, that tint of pink, just to add nice contrast and highlights to this flower. Of course, for the leaf and the stem, I am going to be using Tranquil Azure. That goes well with my ink colors. And that is a look at the flowers complete. You can see that pink is not quite a pink, but that's because I have orange ink and then the yellow embossing powder and all that mixing going on. But it gives me such a great highlight there. So I'm going to use the coordinated die and I cut these flowers and then we will continue building our background and completing our composition. Now to build further on the background, I want to add some stencil texture. So I'm going to use this half tone background stencil and cloud white pigment ink to add just a little texture and detail to my cover. And with these focal flowers, I just want to place them in a way, creating like a sense of movement across my cover. And now I am going to add a lot of white splatter to this to tie my background, my focal elements all together. And to complete it, I want to add a phrase. So I am going to be using these quote chips from Tim Holtz. And I have selected Do What You Love to add right here at the bottom, completing my cover. And with that done, this is all complete and ready. That is a look at my transformed notebook cover. And you can see even on craft, all it took was white embossing powder, some white ink, and you could switch colors. Any color combination would look really good. This definitely inspires me to pick it up and, come up with ideas and make a note of things that I want to do this year. I hope this inspires you as well, and I look forward to seeing your creations. Until the next time, take care and bye bye.